I lived in a village on the edge of forever. Golden sand stretched as far as the eye could see. It whispered secrets on the wind. I knew its language. I spoke to the scorpions that burrowed beneath the dunes. I befriended the desert foxes with their clever eyes.
Amara loved the tough, resilient plants that thrived in the heat. She knew their names and uses. Her favorite was the Baobab tree. It stood like a giant, its trunk holding stories older than time. Amara's village respected the desert. They knew its dangers and its gifts. They lived in harmony with its rhythms. One year, the rains forgot to come. The sun beat down relentlessly. The earth, once the color of ochre, turned to dust. The wells ran dry, the crops withered and died. Fear settled over the village.
The villagers gathered beneath the harsh glare of the sun. Their faces were etched with worry. The elders spoke in hushed tones. They had never seen a drought this bad. Their stores of food dwindled with each passing day. Hope seemed as scarce as water.
Amara watched her mother's face. It was etched with worry. She saw her little brother grow thinner. He was always thirsty. Amara knew she had to do something. She couldn't bear to see her family suffer. The elders gathered beneath the oldest baobab tree. It was the largest tree in the region. Its branches spread wide, offering a sliver of shade in the oppressive heat. The elders believed it held ancient wisdom. They whispered prayers to the tree. They begged for guidance.
I listened intently. I felt a connection to the baobab. It had always been a source of comfort and wonder. A story whispered on the wind. It spoke of a great baobab. This tree was even older and wiser than the village tree. It was said to hold the secrets of survival. The elders believed the great baobab could save us. They believed it could lead us to water. But it was just a legend. No one knew if it even existed, or where to find it. The journey would be long and dangerous. I will go.
Amara's voice was quiet, but firm. The villagers turned to look at her. Surprise flickered across their faces. Amara was just a child. Could she really undertake such a perilous journey?
Amara's grandmother stepped forward. She placed a hand on Amara's shoulder. The desert whispers to her, she said. She carries the spirit of the baobab in her heart.
The elders nodded. They saw the courage in Amara's eyes. They knew that she was their only hope. Amara gathered her meager supplies. She took a small pouch of dates and a gourd for water. Her grandmother gave her a compass. It was a family heirloom. It had been passed down for generations. It pointed the way not just north, but toward hope. Section 5, Into the Teeth of the Sun.
Amara set out at dawn.
She followed the path of the rising sun. The sand shimmered and danced in the heat. The air rippled like a mirage. Amara walked for days. Her throat was parched, her feet were blistered, but she pushed on. She carried the hope of her village with her. It was a burden and a blessing. The desert tested her. It threw sandstorms at her. It sent venomous snakes to block her path, but Amara persevered.
She remembered the stories her grandmother told her. Stories of her ancestors who had survived against all odds. She drew strength from their resilience. Amara sang songs to the desert. She offered thanks to the sun and the wind. She knew that the desert was a harsh teacher, but it was also a giver of life.
Section 6, The Silence of Sand.
One day, Amara collapsed. The sun beat down mercilessly. Her lips were cracked and bleeding. She had no strength left. She closed her eyes, ready to surrender to the desert's embrace.
Then she heard a sound. It was a whisper, faint but insistent. It seemed to come from the sand itself. Amara opened her eyes. She saw a small baobab sapling struggling to survive in the harsh conditions. The wind rustled its leaves. It was as if the sapling was trying to tell her something. Amara dragged herself towards it. She leaned against its trunk. She closed her eyes and listened. The whisper grew stronger. It spoke of a place of peace and refuge, a place of ancient wisdom, a place of hope. Section 7, Beneath the Ancient One.
Amara followed the whisper. It led her through a maze of canyons. It guided her over towering dunes. Finally, she emerged into a hidden valley, and there it stood.
The great baobab, it was more magnificent than anything Amara could have imagined. Its trunk was wider than a house. Its branches spread out like protective arms. They created a canopy of shade that stretched across the entire valley. Amara felt a sense of awe wash over her. She knelt before the tree. She touched its rough bark. It was warm beneath her hand. It felt ancient and powerful. Yet it also felt welcoming, like a grandmother's embrace. Amara closed her eyes. She whispered her plea to the great Baobab. She spoke of the suffering of her village. She begged for guidance and help.
Please, great Baobab, my village is suffering. We need your help. Show us the way.
The wind rustled through the leaves of the great Baobab. They seemed to whisper back to her. Images flashed through Amara's mind. Visions of a hidden oasis, a place of sparkling water and lush vegetation. Amara saw a path. It was a dangerous path, but it led to salvation.
I promise, great Baobab, I will protect the desert and all its creatures. I will honor the wisdom of the trees and live in harmony with nature.
Amara opened her eyes. She felt a renewed sense of hope. She knew what she had to do. She followed the path the great Baobab had shown her. She journeyed for days. The path was fraught with danger. But Amara never lost faith.
I can do this. I must do this for my village.
Finally, she reached it, the hidden oasis. It was even more beautiful than she had imagined. Date palms swayed in the breeze. Their fronds whispered secrets to the wind. A spring bubbled up from the earth. It created a pool of crystal clear water. Fish darted beneath the surface. Birds sang in the trees. Amara had never seen so much abundance. She filled her gourd with water. She drank deeply, savoring the life-giving liquid. She knew she had to return to her village. She had to bring back hope.
This water will save us. I must hurry back.
Amara returned to her village. She carried the precious water with her. She walked with a new spring in her step. The villagers were overjoyed to see her. They had feared she was lost to the desert. They cheered when they saw the water.
Amara, you're back, and you've brought water.
Amara told them about the great Baobab. She told them about the hidden oasis. She shared the wisdom the tree had imparted to her. She taught them to respect the delicate balance of nature. The villagers listened to Amara. They followed her back to the hidden oasis. They rejoiced in the life-giving water. They pledged to protect this sacred place. They knew that Amara had saved them. They called her Amara the Brave.
We must always remember the lessons of the great Baobab. We must protect and cherish this oasis.
The village thrived once more. The rains returned, the crops flourished, laughter echoed through the streets. Amara's journey became a legend. It was passed down through generations. It served as a reminder of the courage of one small girl. It taught the importance of respecting nature.
We must never forget the bond we share with nature. It is sacred and has the power to heal and sustain us.
Amara continued to visit the great Baobab. She would sit beneath its branches for hours. She would listen to the whispers of the desert. She knew that the bond between humans and nature was sacred. It was a bond that had the power to heal and sustain. Amara vowed to protect that bond. She knew that the future of her village depended on it.
I will always protect this bond, for the future of our village and for the future of all who come after us.